Hey everyone, welcome back for another 1/6 scale collectible figure unboxing. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Spider-Man Spider Armor Mark IV suit. This is the version of Spider-Man that you would see in the video games on PlayStation 4 and 5. I'm really happy to add this version of Spider-Man to my collection. I have a small gathering of Marvel figures, and this is my first Spider-Man in that collection. Hopefully, as time goes on, I'll be able to add more Spider-Mans to that collection, but I'm really excited for this one. So let's just start this off by jumping in and taking a closer look at the box. For the front of the box, we have a nice large image of Spider-Man in this action pose, shooting some web from his wrist. I believe this is an image from the video game. I don't know if the material of the suit is going to allow for such a dynamic pose, but we'll find that out later in the video. This image does expand to the right side of the box, and as you can see, there's this comic style collage of Spider-Mans, which is pretty cool. And then on the other side, you have a red honeycomb design or pattern that you'll see more of later in the video as well. And then left side, we have a Spider-Man logo. And on the back, you have all the trademarks and warnings. Now you can open this up to reveal Spider-Man in the box. And again, on this side, you have some more cast and crew of the creators who made this figure. So now let's get him out of the box and take a closer look. So here we have Spider-Man out of the box in his clam tray. You can already see that he's a pretty shiny figure. The light really reflects off his body. There's plenty of accessories on this top layer, and they added a few items to the bottom layer. These attach to his base, and they have a pretty cool function that I'll show you guys in a little bit. So let's just get all of these accessories out of the box and lay them out on the table. So here we have all of the first layer of accessories laid out onto the table. I'm just going to start off with the eyes. I did take one set off the figure so you could see the three different versions. We have this first one, which is the wide open eye. Then you have a medium opened eye, and the third one is a squinting eye. All three of these eyes, you can see that the color is not white in the middle. It's actually a bluish tint, and that's because it has a certain light up feature that I will show you guys in just a little bit. Next, we have the spider drone, a little robotic spider friend for Spider-Man. I believe that there is another collectible figure that also has this drone in it. Really cool added feature. It's got little movable legs, so you might be able to do a tiny bit of posing. I don't think that this can actually be held in Spider-Man's hands. I think it's just a set piece for your display. Either way, it is really nicely crafted, and I'm glad they added it. Moving on to the hands, there are 4 sets of sculpted hands. The first one is sculpted into a wall climbing pose, very nicely sculpted and pretty shiny. The second set is your iconic web shooting hands. Third set is just a closed fist, or maybe a punching fist. And then the fourth set is actually a web holding hand. You can see that there's a hole at the bottom and top, and this allows for a couple of the different sculpted webs to be inserted, so it looks like the Spider-Man is holding them. It's pretty cool, and you'll see more of that a little bit later. And for the sculpted webs, you already saw the first one, which was this lasso swinging one. Then you have 2 straight long shooting webs, and then 2 smaller Q-tip webs. At least that's what they kind of look like. And then finally, this last long one with a little bit of a tail at the end. And then we have a web funnel. And I think you can add this to most of these other ones by just attaching it to the end like that to give a nice little expanding web effect. Hot Toys did add a couple of extra wrist joints just in case one of yours breaks, or you're like me and you're having trouble with getting one of the hands off. You can just use one of these extra ones with a different hand. For the final item, we have the base. It is a hexagon base with the Spider Armor Mark IV name on the front. You have this nice glossy image of the spider emblem on Spider-Man's chest with his name underneath of it. This is a unique base because of the functions that it can do, and I'll show you that in just a second. We're going to remove all of these other accessories and get those second layer of items out onto the table so we can kind of go further into the next part. So Hot Toys decided to add a really cool feature that incorporates the base. Basically, we have these archways or these arch towers that have black lights in them, and these connect to the base in either by battery or by USB. You can light this up and it'll illuminate the figure. The Spider-Man figure actually has a design, or the material for the suit actually reflects off of the black light, and it has a really, really cool effect. And I'll show you guys that in just a little bit. But first, I want to show you how to actually put all of this together. So for the archways themselves, I have seen some complaints online about the quality of them. They are just made out of cardboard and foam, so it looks like Hot Toys did spare some expense when making these. But that's okay. I still think they look good, and I think they're going to get the job done. So I'm just going to show you how it goes in, and I'll probably put it together off screen just so you don't have to sit and watch me struggle. But you'll just place this cord through this hole and out into the flat part of the blackboard on both sides. And once you get them in, then you'll attach the base and you can plug them in into one of these four little slots right here. And we'll go into that in just a second. So before adding the base to the shell and hooking up the wires, there are four little slots, two on each side. There is a compartment to add some batteries. So if you have some AAA batteries, I would add those. That way you can run it either on the batteries, or they did provide this USB adapter, so you can hook that up and run it that way as well. So I'm going to get this completely set up now. So here we have Spider-Man standing on the base in just a simple pose in between the two black light arches. You can already see he's somewhat illuminated. I have all the lights off minus the flash on my camera. But as soon as I turn the flash off, there he is illuminated in the black light, and it looks really good. It looks better in person. You can see the colors of his suit shine through a little bit better, but even on camera, that looks absolutely amazing. I love that they added this design to this figure, and I love the black light effect. Now let's take a closer look at Spider-Man himself. First off, I noticed that he's very lightweight, and that might just be because the last couple of collectible figures I've unboxed have been pretty heavy figures, so it just makes Spider-Man kind of feel like a feather in my hands. But he is decently lightweighted. Starting off with the head, it is a hard plastic sculpt, which is different from the material used on the body. But I think it's done well enough that you can't really tell it's a different material unless you're really looking at it. I really like the way they did the eyes. If you just press on the top part of it, you can quickly and easily slip the eyes off. That's a really nice design. Now, the whole outfit itself is very metallic. It has a nice shine to it. It really catches the light and reflects it and bounces it back towards you. You can see if I bring them closer, they have that honeycomb pattern that we saw earlier with the UV lights or the black lights. One of the big differences from the armored suit versus the classic one is the spider emblem on the chest. The armored one is a lot larger versus the smaller classic one. For the web shooters on the wrists, they're a little bracelet that they added. It has kind of a couple purposes. It hides the ball joint, but it also has the little slot for you to attach the different webs that we saw earlier in the accessory section. So whereas the red areas of the suit are a little bit smoother, the blue areas are a little bit textured. And you can kind of see if I bring them closer, there's a little square triangle pattern on the material, gives it a little bit more detail, and I like that a lot. The pants also have these, I guess, little lines that you can see, maybe giving it a little bit more of like a, Iron Man armor sort of suit versus just the classic fabric. The suit is seamless all the way to the foot. There is a foam or cushion insert inside to help with the ankle joints. And then you have a glossy, soft finish for the bottoms of the feet or soles of the feet. And flipping them around, you have a nice big spider logo right on his back. So overall, I really like this suit. I'm very impressed. But let's get into the next section, which is articulation. Starting off with the head. The head is on a ball joint, so you can move it 360, a little bit up and down. It does look or feel like there is a neck joint, but there's not much movement at all due to the suit. and I don't want to really get in there and try bending it and breaking something, but there is a little bit of movement in there. Then the arms, they can extend up to 90 on ratchets, and there is a little bit of bunching with the suit, and they can come forward 90 as well, or almost 90. There is a swivel at the upper bicep, and then a double bend at the elbow, and then your wrist is on a regular ball joint. The torso has a pretty good amount of ab crunch forward and back, and a little bit of pivot side to side. The legs can extend all the way 90 going forward, and about, I don't know, 70 before the suit starts to hinder it. There is a twist at the thigh and a double bend at the knee, and then your ankle or ankle joint, foot joint can rotate, a little bit of pivot. And then there is some toe articulation, which this is the first figure that I own that I can move the toes. Now, as you saw when I was moving the legs, there's quite a bit of bunching on the suit itself, and that's where the problem might be when it comes to posing. It might be difficult to get it into some real dynamic posing because of the material of the suit. And in long term, when you have it posed, some of those wrinkles might stay. It's just one of those things that you'll have to look after when you're posing the figure for yourself, or if you decide to leave them in a very dynamic pose. So now that I've gotten to play around with the figure, put it in different poses, here are my final thoughts. I really love the mobility that this figure provides. Even with the suit, there's still a lot of articulation and a lot of different dynamic poses that you can get this figure into. Now, yes, one of the negatives is that the suit is going to wrinkle, and even with my short time with it, I could already see that there was a little bit of crease marks that were starting to stay there even after I had reverted the arm or leg back to its museum position. So in the long run, most likely the suit is going to see a decent amount of wear and tear from those creases. But that's just the name of the game when it comes to collectible figures and dynamic poses with this sort of material. So the webs provided in the box are a bit delicate. I unfortunately snapped just a tiny bit off of one of the long webs, so that was kind of a bummer. So if you are messing around with those, please be careful when you're trying to insert them into the web shooters or into Spider-Man's hands. You just don't want to accidentally snap it off like I did and then be out one of the webs. Overall, I love the way the suit looks. I love that metallic shine. It just pops. It's very vibrant. It looks good from a distance and up close. And I love the bonus UV effect that you get with the black lights. I love that they added that. With all of that said, I'm absolutely in love with this figure. I think they did an amazing job crafting, sculpting, and designing this 1/6 scale Spider-Man. I like that it's almost similar to the classic Spider-Man look, and I think that's going to be amazing for my collection since I don't have any other Spider-Mans. This will definitely fit that role. I love all the accessories they added, including the blacklight towers. That was such a perfect finale for this figure, and I think in my display, this is going to look amazing whether the lights are on or not. Thank you guys so much for joining in and watching me unbox another collectible figure. I had a lot of fun with this one. Please stay tuned. I have more videos for you coming out. I also have a little sneak peek right after this that I want to preview for the upcoming videos. But like I said, thank you. As always, stay safe, and I'll see you at the next one. So if you stuck all the way to the end of the video, here is the sneak preview. You have it, the holy trinity of Marvel collectible figures: in-game Captain America, in-game Iron Man, and in-game Thor. And of course, I had to get the big bad guy himself, in-game battle-readied Thanos. I cannot wait to get these out of the box and reviewed. So stay tuned for more videos because you will be seeing these figures soon.